Greetings and salutations everyone, CrimsonNero here, and welcome back to Let's Play Devil May Cry. In the last episode, we went under Malay Island and got the Guiding Light, an item that we needed to use in order to progress. In this episode, we're going to be making more progress and see exactly where my hidden paths may take us. But first, I'm going to show you some place that I have been a lot over the last bit. I said in the last episode that I would look very different in this episode. And if you see my red orb count, I think you see where this is going. This right here is the room that I have been using in order to farm for red orbs over the last, couple hours. Just use the shotgun, defeat these sin scythes, and bada bing bada boom, you get a good amount of red orbs. You can get red orbs from using other farming spots in the game. A lot of people seem to like to attack Phantom several times whenever he spawns in either certain rooms or in the various hallways in which he chases you. You can actually respawn him at several points in the game that aren't just as boss fights. So if you want to use that method, go right ahead. Me personally, I like to use this room right here and attack those sin scythes because, it's not quite as dangerous, as well as, it's pretty easy to just blast just a few sin scythes with the shotgun. Like 2 shots from each from the shotgun will defeat a sin scythe if you're not really willing to line up the shot for the perfect kill. But if you're just kind of wanting to just get progress and just get a bunch of red orbs, then shotgun a couple times and then bada bing bada boom, you're done. I also like using this method because it's also kind of in between missions. Speaking of missions, let's start Mission 8, The Legendary Knight Returns. Activate the mechanism and escape from the rooftop. But first, let's go ahead and just buy all the orbs we'll ever need for pretty much the entire rest of the game. And let's go ahead and get Round Trip, Air Hike, and yeah, let's get Vortex as well. And we still have about a little over 7,000 red orbs to use if we ever need to buy anything else. I mean, we've already maxed out on everything that Alistair can do, and we've already gotten all 10 purple orbs, and we've gotten a lot of the blue orbs that still need to be obtained. Everything else that we'll need are just ones that we'll pick up gradually throughout the game, as well as finishing up secret missions. Ah, hey, look who's back! It's Phantom! Ooh, he's not looking too good considering we've been gradually beating him up as the game has progressed. No holding back, huh?
Finally, I was getting tired of playing your childish games.
Making reference to the fact that, he's been chasing you throughout the game so far. Now, normally you could fight him basically kind of how we fought him in Mission 1. Or, no, Mission 3. That was the first time we fought him. But I'm going to show you a different way of fighting him in this particular chance. This only works in this particular instance because of the environment that we're fighting in. If you turn Phantom around enough times, if he does this little shuffle here, if he does that 3 times in a row, he will jump. And if you make him jump on this glass right here, you'll see that it starts to gradually chip away. If you do it enough times, something special will happen. This cutscene actually happens after you defeated Phantom if you just fight him normally. But if you let him crash through the glass, he'll instantly die. It's an insta kill. It's not the most stylish thing, and yeah, I took a hit there, but hey, it's a special little thing that they included into the game, and honestly, I really appreciate that little detail. He is Dante. He is a Kamen Rider. I mean, a legendary Dark Knight, just like his dad. I did mention in the first episode that Sparta did kind of look like a Kamen Rider of particularly either the Showa era or Heisei Phase 2. I should have said Heisei Phase 1. That definitely fits Sparta a lot more than Heisei Phase 2. I could totally see Sparta hanging out with, like, Kamen Rider Kuga. Actually, not Kuga, Kiva. Because Kiva is based off of vampires.
Defeated the Phantom. Incredible power.
Well, I guess Trisha's still off doing her own thing, but hey, at least she got to see how awesome we are. Yeah! Got some red orbs here, and do a singer across here, and bada bing, another blue orb fragment. And we have just enough to get another blue orb. Nice. There's a red orb cache on top of this horse statue on the left. But first, let's try to get this trident. Let's see if I can get this. I can get it sometimes. It's not quite as hard as the statue that I was trying to jump on before, but whatever. If it would allow me to jump down, that'd be nice. I guess it's the mechanism that the mission was trying to inform me of, because it lowers the drawbridge. I saw a glowy thing over there. I want that glowy thing. I want the shiny. Gimme. It's the corpse of a soldier who must have wandered into the castle and died from exhaustion. He's holding something. An Estus flask. I mean, a grenade gun. Fires exploding shells of shrapnel. Extremely destructive. So yeah, the grenade gun. That weapon is really darn awesome. I'll use it a little bit later. There are 3 openings to insert something. Shall I use the trident? Yes. And now the castle's starting to kind of loop back in on itself. You can definitely tell that this game was designed in a way that allows you to kind of go back and forth. I can't remember if I mentioned this in any of the previous episodes, but the reason why Devil May Cry 1 is kind of its own thing compared to other Devil May Cry games, and also it's kind of its own thing in general, is the fact that this actually originally was supposed to be Resident Evil 4. You can definitely see this in some of the level design. The way that Devil May Cry 1 kind of progresses from area to area also kind of reflects how you progress through like the Spencer Mansion in Resident Evil. Yeah, originally Devil May Cry 1 was originally going to be Resident Evil 4, but then I added things and changed things up. But yeah, anyways, mission 9, new strength. Use the new strength to open the door. We don't need to buy anything, so yeah, let's just go. So yeah, Resident Evil 4 was, I saw a lot of different development throughout the years. It was actually trying to become a thing. Shinji Mikami and Hideki Kamiya were both working on different Resident Evil titles, and eventually they decided after 3 Nemesis, they would try to make Resident Evil 4. But, you know, during the time that they were working on that, there was also another game in Capcom that was being developed that also had a very Resident Evil style to it, called Onimusha, specifically Onimusha Warlords. I believe it actually just got recently re-released in HD for like PC and maybe Xbox One and PS4. I'm not 100% sure. I definitely know it's on Steam, or at least it is going on Steam. Can't remember if it's out yet. I think it is. But anyways, oh, these guys. I love these guys. I'm sorry, did you just flip me off? These guys are called Blades, and they are honestly some of my favorite enemies in the game. Fighting them is maybe not always I'm not always great at fighting them, but I really like their designs. And also that cutscene is awesome. I love that little detail of like their claws like jutting out, especially the one how it's basically flipping me the bird, which isn't very nice, but then again, these are demons and I don't really care. Anyways, very quickly, the grenade gun. As you can see, pretty good. If you can hit something with it, you can basically almost guarantee getting one glyph of your double trigger bar back. Sometimes it takes 2 hits, but still, if you can hit a lot of enemies with it, you can get DT up very quickly. And if you actually side roll to the left or right, or jump cancel out of it, it allows you to actually bypass the animation of you reloading the gun, and you can fire more shots off a lot faster. It's kind of like how you can just sidestep back and forth while using the shotgun in order to bypass its reload animation. Now if we come up here, take a look at this gravestone, we get another blue orb fragment. So yeah, so Shinji Mikami and Hideki Kamiya were working on trying to get a new Resident Evil game out, and while Onimusha Warlords was also in development, there was an exploit where basically you could juggle enemies. And this was not intended, but it eventually inspired Kamiya to make a game that was about, you know, juggling enemies and and also, you know, being stylish in combat. Something that also kind of reminded him of like old school beat 'em ups that he may have played in the arcades when he was a kid. And also just Devil May Cry just oozes a certain style, and definitely style is kind of the name of the game and will become way more a prominent element of the game as we go on throughout the franchise, specifically in 3, 4, and 5. But yeah, there's a lot of information involving the development of Resident Evil 4 and how Devil May Cry is incorporated in that, and also how there was also the Hookman demo that we saw the actual Leon S. Kennedy return in, but was very different from how the actual Resident Evil 4 eventually ended up. Another yellow orb, 2-in-1 mission, nice. Probably won't need these, but just in case we need them, hey, they're there. Very good to have. And having air hike, or our double jump, makes getting this item up here a lot easier, because the camera does try to help you out, but sometimes it doesn't always work. There's an inscription on the base.
My name is Ifrit. The fool who awakens me shall pay dearly with the fires of hell.
Well, that isn't ominous at all. Whoa, we got gauntlets flying around. They got rocket punches. This is Marvel now. Rocket punch. If only it was like that. Despite the fact that actually Dante showed up in 2 different Marvel vs. Capcom games. But we get Ifrit, a flaming gauntlet that gives the possessor increased powers. So, we got a new melee weapon. We got Ifrits. Let's show it off. We got punches and kicks, and they're on fire. So, as the description kind of told us, Ifrit focuses more on raw power, raw damage. Whereas Alistair focuses more on quick and nimble attacks and focusing on mobility. And now for one of my favorite cutscenes in the entire game. Hello, a new boss. You look intimidating, but also really cool.
Are you the human, the son of Sparta who challenges the darkness for this?
Block off, Featherface, or you can stick around and find out the hard way.
Yeah! I love that line so much! I think that is a really clever way of writing and also kind of censoring. But man, I love that interaction with this new boss, known as Griffin. We've already dealt with Phantom, so they just decided, hey, let's make a new boss. Oddly enough, Griffin is actually voiced by the same voice actor who played Phantom, Howard Jerome. So it's nice that he got work as 2 different characters in this game. Plus, like, you can't really tell that it's the same voice actor unless you really focus hard, but because of all the distortion and effects that they have to make the voices more demonic sounding, you know, it might become a lot harder to even recognize Howard Jerome as Griffin in comparison to his performance as Phantom. I just find it really, really cool that, you know, it's the same voice actor. So, as you can see, there's a lot going on with the Griffin fight. Griffin, you know, is a bird, so he likes to fly around a lot and attack you from the air, as well as he uses a lot of different ranged attacks. The style meter actually changes a little bit whenever you're fighting Griffin, because of the fact that you'll most likely be relying on your firearms a lot more than your melee strikes. But overall, not that bad, especially if you take the time to do a little bit of grinding like I did off screen. And, you know, an extra holy water, just cuz. So, one thing that I would like to mention is that when we were on our way to get Ifrit, you know, there was a path of blue fire lighting our way, but now the blue fire is showing us this door over here. And because we have Ifrit, I think you can see where this puzzle's going. Light this fire and bada bing. More cutscenes. I love that kind of perspective. How you see like a first-person view of like the predator trying to catch its prey. I always like that in movies, especially horror films. But what are you? Ooh, you are a new enemy type, and you got fire! This is the Fetish. It's basically kind of like a souped-up version of the marionettes that we've been fighting since the beginning of the game. Now, it has kind of all the different things that you'd expect from the marionettes and the Bloody Marys. It has swipes. It has it can throw its weapons. In this case, like chakrams, basically. But also, as we saw in the cutscene, it also has different abilities that involve fire. But you know, just bashing these guys around with Ifrit and mostly the grenade gun is a pretty good idea. Honestly, like, the combination between Ifrit and the grenade gun is really good because you definitely want to be using Ifrit in conjunction with Devil Trigger as much as you can, especially with some of the moves that we'll eventually purchase. Because, yeah, now that we have a new melee weapon, it's time to buy new moves. I'm gonna need a lot more red orbs, which is kind of why I did that off-screen farming, is because I want to show you guys everything that this game has to offer upon a first playthrough. Speaking of moves, yeah, Ifrit has new moves that we can buy. I'm not gonna buy them right now. I'm gonna wait until the end of the mission to buy them. But yeah, Ifrit is now an option in the power-up menu, as well as the background also shows fire in conjunction with the electricity that is more known to be, you know, Alistair's thing. So we have lightning, we got fire. Cool. Another Devil Star, nice. Nice. High time into Helm Splitter and then grenade gun right on your face when you're down on the ground. That's pretty cool. Gotta get some style in there. Now, honestly, if you're wondering why I didn't just get all of the red orbs I would need off screen to buy everything that Ifrit has to offer, if you're wondering why I didn't do that, it's because that honestly, by just progressing through the game and beating enemies and just completing missions, we'll get enough red orbs in order to purchase everything that we'll need for the rest of the game. And that's the end of the mission. We got a new weapon, we got to beat a new boss character. I didn't do too hot, but hey, I'll take it. A C is not the best, but, you know, could be worse. Mission 10, Canyon of Mist. Come out of the Labyrinth Canyon alive. But first, let's power up and look at the new moves, such as Magma Drive. Charge power and release it in the form of a Magma Uppercut. Kick 13, level 1. A quick but powerful flaming back roundhouse kick. Its impact will drive the enemy back. I love this move so much, especially level 2. Rolling Blaze. Surround the body in flame and damage enemies upon contact. Meteor, level 1. Shoot fireballs from the hands. Hadouken! Inferno. Create a wall of fire and burn everything within range. I don't use Ifrit nearly as much as I should, but I absolutely love Rolling Blaze, Kick 13 especially, and Inferno. Those are kind of my go-to moves whenever I use Ifrit. Yeah, Ifrit is definitely one of those weapons that using a lot of DT with it is a really good idea because it just makes a powerful weapon even stronger, especially once we get Kick 13. Kick 13 is a very special move. But I'll get into more of that in just a little bit. But for right now, we got some marionettes here, but we also got a little bit of a puzzle that we'll need to solve in this mission. It's a riddle of some kind. Valley of the Mist. One must choose the right path to enter the Lost Land. Only those who protect the weak. Light shall have the power to decipher the right path. Okay. Well, we got this glowing light ball here, so let's follow it. But we need to make sure that we defeat enemies that get close to it in order for it to continue to progress. I'm pretty sure enemies will continue to respawn kind of almost endlessly, so just, you know, make sure that you defeat the necessary enemies for the orb to progress, and just follow it down the path that it goes whenever it gets to the fork. You can either go to the left or to the right. I'm not sure if there's a particular pattern, but just make sure that you actually have the ball go to the exit before you go down a path. Otherwise, you'll start from the beginning. Well, not sure if... I definitely know if you take the wrong path, you'll have to start from the beginning. But I'm not 100% sure if you take the correct path with the ball not being there, if you ruin your chances of progression. And we have more blades to deal with. But this is one of those situations where air raid is a pretty good idea. I really like air raid. It's a good attack to use, especially if you decide to spend a lot of your red orbs on getting more devil trigger. But if you get through all 3 rooms and do it correctly, then you eventually get out on the other side. And we fight more Cyclopses. Yes, remember these guys from that one secret mission? Well, they're actual enemies that we can fight. But luckily, we can actually attack these guys instead of having them just do all the work for us. They function very similarly to how Phantom does. I mean, considering that they're kind of Phantom's children, somewhat. I mean, the little baby Phantoms, oops, wrong button. The little baby Phantoms that we defeated in those 2 secret missions also kind of count. So yeah, apparently, you know, Phantom definitely is very busy when it comes to having kids, I guess. I mean, then again, spiders do kind of do that in general, but let's not talk about that, considering I know that many people out there do have arachnophobia. So yeah, the less time that we can discuss and see spiders, the better, right? Yeah, definitely a lot better. Definitely a lot easier to deal with them when I can actually attack them rather than having them attack themselves. Yeah, defeat those 2 Cyclopses, open up that door, and yeah, the mission's basically over. Not that bad. Yeah, some missions in Devil May Cry definitely take a lot longer than others, but definitely cutscenes can also add to that time as well. If you skip a lot of the cutscenes, that'll actually make your scores a lot better, actually, because that cutscene time definitely does take away time from the mission clear time. And we get an A rank. Nice. A good amount of red orbs for some of our new Ifrit moves, but that is where we're going to end things off for this episode of Let's Play Devil May Cry. I'm CrimsonNero, thank you very much for watching this episode, and until next time everyone, fare thee well.